Good afternoon, Jan.
Good morning, Michael.
Yeah. So yeah, I had to put together a real quick uh, layout for the video because yeah, Discord was not working well this morning. So it took me a little while to figure out that I had connected incorrectly to Zoom, and so I didn't have audio. And yeah, even did a whole system reboot. So maybe that's it.
I don't think that Discord is having its operation center in Iran, no?
No, I don't think so.
so,
Yeah,
so there must be another problem then.
yeah. We'll get that figured out. Well, yeah,
Okay.
it's been a while.
It has been a while. Well,
Yeah.
we could have asked Cursor what was the problem with with Discord.
Yeah, I actually did ask ChatGPT, and yeah, since it wouldn't be in its training set, I said specifically search the web for anything that's happened in the last week, um, and it just does better web searches than I do now. That's that's pretty much
Mm,
why I did that. But yeah, it didn't come up with anything. So
yeah.
yeah. Oh
No, it's amazing the quality of the web searches that it does. It finds a lot of things which I never found before.
mhm. Yeah. Have you ever used the deep research feature?
No.
There's a little button on the bottom of the chat you can, or it might have now they might have shoved it into a little drop down because there's a lot of features. But deep research will um, uh, it will do a whole bunch of search on the topic that you want, and then based on the results that it gets back, it's going to come up with other searches, do those searches, and then it basically takes 15 minutes to go find out about a subject, and then it comes back and gives you a full summary.
Okay. But probably that option is only available on a paid subscription, no?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Um,
No,
yeah, I pay for everything. It's
no,
like I gotta try it all.
I have the paid Cursor subscription,
Hmm.
but ChatGPT I don't have. Now, ChatGPT is included in Cursor, but I never tried if I put it on ChatGPT Cursor and I ask it non-coding questions.
Hmm.
Um, does it answer the same way or?
Not quite. Yeah. So the way that Cursor is set up. So there's the model,
Mm,
the model GPT 5.2, for example, and then there's the product. So ChatGPT is a product that goes around the various models, and Cursor is another product that goes around lots of models,
mm.
not just GPT or OpenAI models.
So
Um,
the training data is different then?
it's not the training data; it's the instructions. So a raw model is just next word prediction. You
Mm,
just send it some text, and then it predicts what's going to come next.
hmm
And they have been the foundation models have been tuned after just learning on the internet, just what do people tend to say next. They have been tuned for following instructions. So that's an extra reinforcement learning step at the end. So it's like, okay, now that you know how to speak various human languages, let me give you some instructions, and then when you respond with something that looks like you're following the instructions, I'll give you a thumbs up, and when you respond, with just the next instruction or whatever, I'll give you a thumbs down. So so they go through that reinforcement learning path. So now it's good at predicting how to actually follow the instructions. Um, so when you use ChatGPT, the system prompt is a set of instructions that says that you're a helpful assistant. You're going to answer the user's question. The user's question is, and then they paste it in right here.
hmm
What's your response? And then it's um, with that reinforcement step, it's going to follow that instruction and it's going to say, okay, my response is this, and then they just stream the response back to you. With cursor, it's a different set of instructions. You are an elite programmer. The user's code looks like this. What do you
Okay.
want to
Yeah.
change? It says, oh, I want to change this line. Oh, okay. So then it
Hmm.
predicts, it shows you the gray text.
So the context where it places our questions in is completely different.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, the instructions wouldn't really
Mm.
make sense if it was just you give me a new waffle recipe. Um,
Mm.
Maybe be like, well, you told me that I'm an elite programmer, and well, okay, I guess I'll try.
Okay. No, I never tried that. So, but anyway, it's still to me unbelievable what comes out of Cursor.
Yeah.
That is just word next word predictions.
Yeah. Yeah. It's.
Um,
I
because
mean,
I did some testing. Um, actually, let me show you.
all right.
Um, so just share. Unless you want to show something else first.
No, you go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, let's do it that way. Okay.
So normally you should see this text.
I see it. Yes.
So this text is what I gave into Cursor, step by step. Yeah. So the first thing was create an object, weighing instrument with the following properties: serial number, minimum, E maximum. Then create a form that allows an inspector to enter the values for weighing instrument. And then it starts, this one. I would like to create a form that guides an inspector in performing the weighing test of a weighing instrument. This test goes as follows. The inspector places increasing loads of certified weights on the scale going from min to max. These loads should include minimum, maximum, 500E and 2000E. As far as these values are between the min and max, the form should propose these values and let the inspector add additional values if he wants. Once the values are determined, the inspector places the first load on the weighing instrument, enters in the form the value that he reads of the indicator of the weighing instrument. Next, the inspector will start adding values of 0.1 E to the load until the indication of the weighing instrument increases. Inspector will enter the total values and so on.
That is, yeah,
Then
that is a lot for one prompt.
but then I added, okay, I need these grids to guide the inspector. I just need one text box which is enabled. There is the shift tab which goes back.
Mm-hmm.
Then add a column with the maximal tolerated error, maximal permissible error it should be, MPA in English, MPA in Dutch. Then add another column, the corrected error. Then compare and turn red or green the text box according to a failure or a pass.
Mm-hmm.
And then so far we only did it. So far we tested from min to max. Now go back.
Oh wow! And you put this all in all at once. This is the full.
No.
This is the full application.
One by one.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then let me show you. Oh yeah, then I have to stop the sharing and share the other one. Oh no, then I need cursor for that one. Where's my cursor? There. Because I have Visual Studio open as well. Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. Is that visible?
Yes, it is.
So let's see whether he still wants to do that. So he's gonna compile and run. Come on, faster. Yeah, but now he opens a window and you don't see that window.
I don't see the window, no.
Okay, so let's switch to that one. I have to stop sharing first. I thought with Zoom before we could just, yeah.
There we go.
So
Yes.
it tells me, hello world, but then enter a weighing instrument. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I even went further. I can enter a weighing instrument, but I can also pick up from my last test. You see?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So it loaded. So actually, I was up to here. I
Mm-hmm.
now have to enter a delta L. It loaded my state. It filled up the grid again, and I can just continue here. So
Nice.
here, for example, I had 6 kilogram. I press tab. It jumps to there. So now I'm going backwards, downwards. It
Mm-hmm.
goes up, but in kilo I go downwards. So you should still put a line here in between, huh? Because in green are the arrows there.
Oh, okay.
So 60,000 kilo. So let's say he indicates 60,020. I have to add 8 kilo to make it jump.
Mm-hmm.
There it gives me, for example, 50,000. I have to add 2 kilo. Here I have, let's say, 40,020. I add 18. No, let's say 2 kilo. Yeah. You see, he's out of tolerance and he becomes red.
Hmm.
He added, I didn't ask for that, but he added a set of instructions.
Yeah.
What he proposed in the beginning was you want to add test loads, which initially I added here.
Uh-huh.
He wanted them to have them separately. I say, never mind, let's do it that way. But so by giving step-by-step orders, he came to this result, which I find really remarkable.
That is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So now imagine here. So I'm up to the 20,000. Imagine here, my computer has no power anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So he stops. I restart the program. Yeah, he's still thinking again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will share that again. Where is it? No, this one. Oh, that's the screen. This one. So here, I can just go back to the test.
Yeah,
And
that's
you
it.
see, yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's not saved with historical modeling, just a JSON text.
Uh-huh.
I told him save the result in a JSON text file.
Yeah, it doesn't know how to use Janaga. Yeah.
I even didn't look how he did it so far. But yeah, the software, okay, you still have to round everything. You still has to, but so with this result, that's what I wrote in the mail. I could live with it, that I don't understand why that I don't go and look what he's doing.
Mm.
As long as the result is good, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I think that ultimately when you start to ship this to customers, then you will start to care. This code, even though it looks like it's working well, there are likely some subtle bugs in there, and yeah, when your customers run into them, then you'll need to be able to support them. And also, I think one of what you'll find as you are continuing to iterate is that it changes things that you didn't intend it to during the iterations. So yeah, I would say continue down this path. Absolutely, experience that for yourself. But I think that those are the things that you're gonna run into.
Well, one of the things was when I added, for example, the going up.
Mm-hmm.
The shift tab was already working, and then it stopped working. So I had to tell him, make it work again.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, if it's a black box, okay, I will still go and look how does it work.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know. But what I mean, until now, I've always tried to have code which is really readable and put a lot of attention into
Yeah.
that, which failed in the
Hmm.
first version. But
Yeah.
okay, so I'm looking for ways to do it more easily. But another approach would be that, as you said, we build good tests around it.
Mm-hmm.
And if these tests, if I can really have a lot of inspections which I add to the test, I can run them every time and see whether it still passes. If all these tests, all these different reports that have been done and that I'm sure they are correct, if they still pass, then the code is correct enough.
Uh-huh.
Not correct, but um,
Yeah.
and so if at a certain moment customers come back with a problem somewhere, what I will do is ask Chat
Mm-hmm.
Cursor to correct the problem,
Yeah. Yeah. And
and then
yeah, if you instruct it
keep running.
first to create a test that replicates the scenario, and then observe that test failing for exactly the same reason, and then fix the problem, then now you've got a test suite, and you've got some confidence that you've actually fixed the problem that the customer asked for.
Mhm. Yeah, but so for every change, I should add a test.
Mm-hmm.
But especially important is that a lot of inspections that have been done in the past with the old software and even manually, that these results are incorporated in the test package to make sure that all these tests pass. Um, but the testing is still a big question for me.
Mm.
Um, because so it's not like a machine where you have input and something comes out directly. It's a machine where you trickle to. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there is an input value. You give some input. You press tab. It goes to the next state, and then to the next state, to the next, to the next, to the next, and
Yeah.
finally you have the inspection done.
Mm-hmm.
So I could build a testing framework around this black box state machine that feeds the state machine with measurement values and with user interactions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, for
Yeah.
example, at a certain moment, so in this form, we don't have substitution weights yet. But
Mm-hmm.
at a certain moment, the inspector can decide, I'm almost at the max value. It's enough. For me, the test passed. We don't continue until the max value. We continue to the next test.
Hmm.
So there will be a button here at the bottom. Accept this test as completed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so that means if I have to feed the state machine with the input, I have to store all this input and in sequence.
Right. Right. And yeah, for a test, you don't want to store it, load it, all that stuff. You want to create a new state machine and then feed all those inputs in, and then say, okay, when I feed this next input in, then it goes to this state.
Yeah. But even that next state, I don't really care. Because the next state he will just display something. I could just say, okay, he's in the next state. Now is he enabling the correct text box,
Mm-hmm.
but not in the user interface, just in the model?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
I
you would
feed
be testing that view model, which you
yeah,
would
and
then bind to the user interface. Yeah.
yeah, because the user interface we have to leave it out of the testing, because otherwise,
Hmm.
every time I change something, nothing is valid anymore.
Yeah.
But so I enter the next measurement value, or the test framework will enter that. And when the whole test is finished, then I go and look at all the results that come out,
Hmm.
the results that will be printed on a report in the real world.
Hmm.
But so now they are in the database, and I compare them to what they should be.
Yeah.
Um, but so actually, it's like testing framework runs through the whole process step by step, feeds the state machine.
Yeah. I think that's
Um,
going to work well for you.
I think that should work, and that's independent of the user interface,
Right.
or almost independent.
Right. Yeah. But then yeah, you're also chatting with it to update the user interface. So yeah, maybe it's yeah. Here's the feature. Write a test for this feature. Um, you update the view model and everything below it in order to make that pass, and then this is what it should look like on the user interface, and then it does the binding. So you've run the
Mm,
test and you've tested most of the application, and then you just you know told it how it should look, and then it pops up there,
mm,
and now it's all bound.
yeah. Um, what else did I? So to me that looks like a possible way. Um, but so if I see the state machine as a black box, at a certain moment, will I run into a context problem where I go over the context limit? What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Or could I summarize all the previous stuff? Um,
Yeah, this is actually where code quality starts to matter, and that is that uh, if um, if through this iteration you end up with one class that has all of this logic in it, then um, it's not quite that it'll fill up the context window because it doesn't load the whole class into its context. Instead, it's got tools that allow it to search. So it could still do it can still work on a large file without blowing out the context. But it's even more effective if it's got well structured code. So
mm,
just like a human, you keep the code clean in order to keep the technical debt down,
mm,
and that means that it's less of a burden on a person to figure out what to do next, and changes are less likely to break other things if things are properly decomposed, especially with managing dependencies, and so all of those same things apply, and uh, and so yeah, I think having good quality code uh, even helps with the LLM. Um,
mm,
so yeah, I would encourage you to to go ahead and take a look at the code. Maybe you then ask it to explain parts of the code and go through some tests or some passes after you have a test suite where you
mm,
are actually telling it how to refactor the code and how to restructure it.
mm.
So that will make sure that you understand it, and it will make sure that it's easier to work with it um, without running into any issues.
Mm. Yeah, because just now, even the review button, I didn't click it. I just say, okay, run it, show me the result.
Hmm.
And I say, it's working, it's still not working. Um, and I got to this end result without a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I find that really amazing. Okay, it's not a finished product, it's not quality code, but um,
Hmm.
already understanding what I want is already a very difficult thing.
Yeah.
Uh, if I would ask that to my wife to make that,
Yeah, I mean, if you hired a talented programmer and said the same thing, you wouldn't have this result in half a day.
No,
This,
no.
yeah,
Hmm.
this would take a talented programmer weeks of work.
Hmm. If I saw your last video, I realized how fast you understand things, and that's also amazing.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because I just explained a little bit left and right, and immediately you're able to make a big picture of it. And it was
Oh,
quite
okay.
accurate.
Okay, good, good. I'm glad I got that right. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I did since then load the old system into Cursor and asked it to create documentation that describes the process. So it
Okay.
generated a document, and as I look through it, it's like, yeah, that kind of matches what I thought it was doing, but
Hmm?
yeah, I don't know. Um, but yeah, so the description that you gave of the metrology process
Hmm.
in your prompts is like a really short version of this long and detailed document um, that yeah, I asked it to focus just on the process, not on the user
Hmm.
interface. So it doesn't have things like tab, and shift tab, and
Hmm.
it's just this is what the yeah, what the inspector is going to do. So
Yeah.
um, so yeah, I think uh, yeah, I think some of the things that are going to help you on the next step is to ask it to generate markdown files that represent its understanding of the process, its
Hmm.
design, its architecture, and and then that way you can refer back to those markdown files to load in important information. So, quick question: when you are when you're going on to the next thing, are you starting a new session or are you continuing in one session?
I continued. I did in 2 sessions, and or in two time frames, but it was in the same session. So I opened the same agent and I continued.
Okay, yeah. So that's where you're going to hit the context limits. Um,
Hmm.
so uh, so yeah, when you might have already seen it where it says summarizing, and it takes a little while, and then it says okay, now I can
Hmm.
come back. And there's also a little wheel that shows how much of the context is taken up. So it starts off with a little sliver, and then it just kind of
Hmm.
goes all the way around, and then says okay, gotta summarize. Um, as the context fills up, the results will often degrade, and then when it summarizes, it'll often forget important details and maybe still remember some of the mistakes that it made. Um, so yeah, the next step I think is going to be to be very deliberate about context. So
Hmm.
you'll start a new session, you'll have an empty context, but then also it won't remember anything from the previous session. It'll have
Hmm.
to look through the code again in order to figure out where to start. So um, so if in that first session you ask it to generate an architecture diagram, a document, generate a specification, generate um, you know a product requirements document, something that
Hmm.
describes the process, um, and have a folder. I just usually call it docs, and all of
Hmm.
those markdown files go in there. Then when you go to the next session, then you can tell it, the architecture is right here. Then let's keep going, and that will have it load back in the important stuff, and
Yeah.
then it'll be able to find where in the code to start working.
Yeah. Because one thing I could do is, so the whole inspection for the non-automatic weight scales is 5 different tests. And so this is the first one. The tests are not always completely independent. I showed you last time that at a certain moment it jumps from test 1 to test 4, and then it goes back to 1.
Yeah.
But in general, they are quite independent. So I could start an agent for test 1, then a clean context starting with test 2, test 3, up to 5. Each time make a summary in a markdown document, and then a separate agent for the overview to link everything together.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think you're thinking in the right way. You're using the word agent, where I think right now you're still talking about sessions. Agent is a different thing, which I think is a step that we'll want to get to really quickly. But yeah, first of all, practice with multiple sessions. But yeah, I think you're on the right track. Is that yeah, for a session you want it to be able to load into context kind of the background and the rules for one cohesive set of thoughts. Um, and yeah, you don't want to mix different tests, uh, test rules for
mm,
in the same session, because then it might start to cross-reference them, and think, okay, when I'm doing test 2, I'm mixing in some of the rules from test 1, um,
yeah.
and then you would have to be explicit. Don't do this, do that, and then it's got negative statements in context, and
Mm,
yeah, negative statements start to degrade. It starts to get confused with and then
yeah.
you have to use all caps to say, no, this is important, don't do that, and so it's like, yeah, throw that away. We're just talking about test 2.
Mm,
Boom.
okay. I've been looking also because one thing I want to add to the new version is to add the automatic weight scales,
Mm-hmm.
which are different tests that have to be added. I started looking into that also, but it's all a little bit in the same way of working. So because there are, for example, one of them is this. It's yeah, it's one of these documents from
Mm-hmm.
the OEML, the International Organization of Legal Metrology. Um,
Yeah, I'm
so
surprised you have a hard time saying that word. I know I have a hard time saying that word, but it's like, you do this. Well, you're not a
yeah,
metrologist, but you support metrologists.
I just read the things and then I see of the whole bunch the little things that we need to 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 apply in the software.
Yeah,
Because otherwise I could just give the whole PDF to Cursor, say make me a software that could do this,
yeah.
but it will not be
That will
usable.
not. Yeah, that would. It would produce something. It wouldn't be
Yeah.
what you want. Yeah, this is where thinking about it in terms of information. You know,
Hmm.
you have a black box, and you pull information out of it, but you didn't put the information in to constrain it. So how do you know what you pull out is correct? So you
Hmm.
have to really put in the information to narrow down that space of correctness, and then when you pull something out, it's going to select something from within that space and say, okay, that's correct. So yeah, yeah, give me
Just
software to solve this problem. It might create a website, and the user interface is going to be whatever it makes up, um, and it
no,
might actually do it, but won't be what
and
you
the
want.
biggest problem, because that is an international document,
Hmm.
but then there is the Belgian government, which selects and modifies a few things and adapts to the way uh, the Belgian government sees it.
Hmm.
And then every customer has implemented it in his own way. But so now
Mm.
I have to make selections in such a way that the Belgian government accepts it,
Yeah.
and that I have the framework which is the minimal work for my customers to apply to be accepted and accredited.
Hmm.
So uh, that's also a big challenge, but okay.
Yeah.
Um, so on the testing, that's clear. So for the moment, I will try every single test and see it a little bit as a black box, but keep the code clean and refactor from time to times.
Yeah. Only
If
after you
that,
have tests. Yeah.
yeah, if that really doesn't work as a black box, I can always go back to the old way. But,
Yeah. I think.
um,
Yeah. The new way. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. But it is a mix of your existing skills and this new capability.
Hmm.
So far you've dove right into this new capability and absolutely loving it. And yeah, that is cool. So as you progress, you are going to be bringing back your old skills, but uh, it's not going to be typing and using IntelliSense in step-by-step debugging, and it's instead going to be your taste. It's going to be what looks good to you, what makes sense to you. Um,
Hmm.
it's those are the things that the human brings to the equation that the LLM just can't, because it's selecting from this huge space of possible
Hmm.
outcomes. And so, yeah, your taste, adding your constraints to say no, not this, but this, and then okay, select from here. Um, and so I think that you're going to find being able to apply those very human skills is going to be really fast and really natural.
Hmm.
And you're just not going to get bogged down in, okay, now I know what it should look like, and now I have to sit here and type it out. Um, yeah, once you know what it should look like and you see something that's
Hmm.
not right, you can describe not this but that, and um, and you will get what you want. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I love this. You are on the excellent path.
Um, but then to go back to historical modeling.
Uh-huh.
So in your last session about the dependent independent variables, you really every action you made it a fact.
Yes.
And there I said no, that's not the way to
You don't want to do
go.
that. Okay.
Wait. At that time I say no, that's not the way to go.
Hmm.
Because in my mind I said we are gonna do, for example, a full test, and then we save the full test.
Mm-hmm.
So in one big fact, all the measurements, everything is saved. Now, in meanwhile, by having this store and continue functionality,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's only possible if you store it in individual facts. And this
Yeah.
store and continue is something that I don't have up to now in the old version, because there I really
Hmm.
store it at the end of each test.
Yeah.
The problem with that is the technicians in the field, they are working with laptops and they will be with tablets, but at a certain moment the battery is flat
Yeah.
and they have to start all over again.
Yeah. Yeah. Which would be very frustrating.
Yeah. So it would be very nice to have these automatic store
Mm-hmm.
and continue where they can pick up. What I don't want to allow them is to store and then on another laptop, somebody else picks it up and continues.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, two inspectors are doing the same inspection in parallel,
Yeah.
which historical modeling allows perfectly.
Yeah. Certainly does. Yeah. No way to
But
prevent
there,
it, in fact.
but there,
Mm-hmm.
the guys who have to control everything, they are gonna say no, that's not gonna be allowed.
Yeah.
So I think I would go the way that you proposed, individual facts, but then also store on which computer it was started, and it's that computer that can continue.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
If
there's. Hey, I think there are options. There are different ways to address that. So so yeah, maybe in a future session we can go through what are some of those things we could try.
um, that means that I also block one case. Imagine that the computer dies. It's not just a flat battery,
Mm-hmm.
but complete failure. And it goes into the dustbin. Yeah, then the inspector has to start from scratch again.
Yeah, and that's one of the scenarios I was thinking about when I was thinking there are other ways. Yeah, there is another way that we could address that
Mm.
that doesn't prohibit using a new computer, and that would basically be the transaction pattern from the book. So it would be at the end you say, well, this is the right
Mm.
one. Um, yeah, you can think of it kind of similar to blockchain, where
Mhm.
because a blockchain is a historical model, it's just a really, really long and flat one. Um,
Mhm.
uh, Somebody can start a new, they can find a new block, and so you can have multiple chains going on in parallel, and eventually the network will choose the longer one
Mhm.
and abandon the shorter one. So in historical modeling, it wouldn't be the longer one because there's no proof of work, but instead it would be a deliberate decision at the end. So yeah, even if you picked it up and you started in parallel on another machine,
Mhm.
then you got to a certain point and you say, okay, this is the one that I want to submit, and so the submission is that one, and the other one is ignored, and
Okay.
that can be a transaction fact at the end.
Um, but you could have that both run in parallel without communication.
Yeah, which it does yeah actually leave the door open a little bit because yeah, you could create similar transaction on the other one. Um,
Um, no, 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 no,
no.
because no, there is one server uh, in the setup.
Mm-hmm.
So because they have to pay by inspection.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So before I had these small dongles
Mm.
on which I stored, they could download the number of points. And so every computer has its own points, or
Oh,
every
okay.
inspector.
I see.
Um, I don't
Yeah.
want to do that anymore. Um, I want to do it as my other software, just have a central server.
Yeah.
And when the inspection is finished, it comes to the central server, and the server will create, for example, a PDF, will send it to all the parties that need to have it. But so the finalization of the inspection is done by that central server.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So there I could say the inspection that reaches of that device that reaches the server first, that's the one that counts.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. And so it's the server that creates that transaction fact that says this was
Mhm.
the one that counts. So anything else that happens, um, yeah. But I see what you're talking about. That still allows somebody to use the software without generating the report. I don't know.
Um, yes, and don't pay.
Yeah. But
Um,
yeah, are they getting the value worth paying for if they're not generating the report? Because then
um,
it's a spreadsheet.
well, the thing is, if they don't pay, they don't have the support,
Mm-hmm.
they don't have the report. Um, of course, I have to provide a preview, for example, in the software where they can see the full report.
Mm-hmm.
So they could just do print screen and save that in a PDF. But at
Yeah.
that moment, there will not be, for example, an official sequence number on the report.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also the reason why I want to do it in central server.
Mm-hmm.
It's the server that attributes a unique number to the
Yeah.
report. Um, I could, in the preview, leave off a number of logos which have to be there, or some information
Mm-hmm.
which will be, or just add in
Yeah.
diagonal in preview, for example,
Yep. Have a watermark. Yeah.
yeah, a watermark. So, and in the end, the added value of the whole system, I just have to make sure that it's more important than for my customers than spending time to copy it.
Yeah. 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 Okay. So I think there's
So,
a path through there.
hmm.
Excellent. All right. Well,
um,
yeah. I think we do need to call
oh,
it today. I know we
yeah,
started late, so it's going to be a short episode,
no
but
problem. I was I was so in the thing. Okay, I have a lot of information now. I will continue with that, and next week you will be there.
yes, indeed.
Michael, thanks a lot. See you next
Yeah.
week.
Thank you. See you.
Okay, bye
Bye.
bye.